I was born in the summer of 2002, but so was this, the Nissan 350Z, which was revealed in Japan following the failure of its little brother, the 300ZX. The early models of the 350Z came with the 3.5-liter VQ, producing 287 horsepower. When I was a kid, I always dreamed of owning one. I thought they were so cool, especially after being featured in Fast and Furious. But unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to own one until now. So here it is, my slightly used Nissan 350Z, my childhood dream car. Low miles, it's recently been wrapped around the tree. I don't know how it actually crashed, so. I just bought my childhood dream car, but there's a huge problem. It's wrecked. Which doesn't help my case at all because I've never done any serious work on a car before, and this car is heavily damaged. I couldn't afford to spend $10,000 on a good condition Z, so I decided to buy a wrecked car in hopes of being able to sell it later for a good price. Despite that, this car also might have been a victim to insurance fraud, meaning it might not ever be legal to drive again. So how in the world am I gonna fix all of this without having any prior experience working on cars before? I guess we'll have to find out together, because I had no idea either way. You know, boy math is buying a wrecked car because it's cheaper and you get to modify it. So that's a win-win in my situation. So real quick, let's take a look at all the damages we're working with. We start off with the right side rear quarter panel. The guy who sold me the car, he got T-boned into, so obviously this is all messed up and it's gonna need replacing just by looking at it. We're gonna have to become auto body technicians and replace the entire rear quarter panel. Now, I said I'm gonna do all the work myself, so I will. So if that means I have to learn how to weld, then I guess I'm welding. But we're looking at the door. The door is also damaged. It doesn't open. The door handle was obliterated into a million pieces, perhaps. The suspension looks twisted. I think accident. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's the whole like back part of the car that needs replacing, or if it's just like one or two parts. I don't have any tools with me today, so I can't take this apart. That'll be until next video. I'll buy some tools because I also don't have tools in general. Now honestly, the rest of the car isn't that bad, but it is pretty crusty. That's what I meant to say. It's pretty crusty, dusty. The Z needs some love, and that's what I'm gonna give to it. Now, if the inside of the quarter panel is also heavily damaged, we're gonna have to remove the entire interior. Unfortunately, I don't have a jack on me, so I can't lift up the car to see what's going on with this right wheel. But this part of the car, the suspension, I believe is also pretty damaged. If we take a look at the rotors, I think they look okay. The brakes, they're okay. I do have to remove the wheel, but I have zero tools here. Now the back bumper is also pretty loose. I think when the accident happened, everything was smushed in together, so this longer doesn't bolt in, so we're gonna have to push that back in. Well, this is part of the quarter panel, so this is gonna have to be all replaced. Wheels? I'm not sure if that wheel is bent, but if it's bent, but it's not bent, we can probably use this wheel for like drifting setup or something, which will be really cool. And then this car is pretty bad taken care of, cosmetically wise. We're missing some screws on here. This whole thing is loose. I don't know how it didn't fall off when we were trailering it back home, all the way from Georgia. The sunroof, looks like the paint is starting to chip, which it means we're gonna have to get this painted again or wrapped, because paint is expensive and I can't afford that, you know. A $3,000 paint job versus a $500 wrap, you know. If we take a look at the front of a car, everything looks perfectly fine. We're just missing the front bumper, which he gave me one when I bought the car, but it was made out of rubber and I really didn't like it because it was so flimsy. But there's another issue. I think this is called the front subframe. When we were loading the car up, we had to screw in a tow hook because there was nowhere to tie the winch from. And when the car got stuck, like you saw in the thumbnail, we had to reverse the Z. While we were doing that, we forgot to take off the tow hook, which hit the back of the trailer and bent the subframe upwards a bit. So it's not perfectly straight, and we're gonna have to get that fixed, which is I think we just need a couple which I think is a pretty fix. If we just have like 20 people stand on top of that and jump, it should bend backwards. Now, other than the rear quarter panel and the suspension back there, we just have a bunch of loose panels. We have a door handle that doesn't work. We have a couple dents right here. I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but there's one dent, two dents. And then if we keep walking around, I'm really not sure how I'm gonna fix this car, but there's nothing that's gonna stop me. I'm gonna learn what I need to learn throughout this journey, and hopefully you guys enjoy all the videos I'm gonna make. Now, I'm sorry if I come out as a little slow or or just that I'm not really familiar with these cars. I have no experience. I don't know what I'm looking at, but if we come at it from a simple standpoint, it's just one step at a time. So I know I can do it. I know I can fix it, and I can't wait to be driving this car and drifting it on the street in Mexico, racing it, and maybe, just maybe, turboing this car. The car doesn't open that well. From the right side, it doesn't open at all. But from the driver's side, there's a little trick to it. So he said use 3 fingers and just pull really hard on it, because, I don't know, it's strange. So as soon as you look inside the car, we have the passenger airbag that's been deployed. We're missing a seat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but since this airbag has been deployed, I think we have to change the whole entire dash out of the car, which is something I've never done in my life, but I'm pretty sure we can do it. There's nothing impossible, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna fix this car. Damn, that does not look good at all. And then from the inside, the door looks perfectly fine. But if we take 1 second to look at the outside, the door is pretty messed up and we're gonna have to replace it. Alright guys, I haven't started this thing in a week. I think it has no exhaust on the back, no muffler at least, and I think it has some type of headers on the front. So here's a cold start. Luckily the engine still drives, so I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about that. Alright, you guys ready to hear this VQ? Oh my god, it doesn't start. It was just starting.